Man, I don't get it. Why do people assume that I'm late? I mean, I just start this and I wait for a couple of people to join the room. Because if I don't do that, and I just started and I go like, oh, hello guys, when there's literally not a single person watching, it's kind of like me talking to the walls, isn't it? So I don't understand. Like, do you do this to other streamers? Shame on you for assuming. Making assumptions is bad. Stereotyping is wrong. By the way, did you notice, like, I have been reading a lot of the press lately. You can imagine, right? Because it's my job. And I noticed a couple of things have never been said again. Like, tolerance. Like, the word tolerance used to exist in almost every single goddamn article that I would read from all the publications. The word stereotype, like it's not okay to stereotype, you shouldn't stereotype, only a bigot stereotypes. That doesn't exist anymore. Like, when is the last time you actually heard that stereotypes are wrong in any publication, any mainstream media outlet? Didn't you notice it? It's like it doesn't exist. Diversity is good for business. That was another one. Boy, that like Marvel and DC Comics definitely benefited from it. I don't have anything against diversity, by the way, but it's like it's not good for business, nor is it bad for business. Depends, like how do you do your hiring? Like if you hire based on the cock and pussy, you get the cock and pussy. You don't get talent. If you hire based on talent, you get talent. You know, it's very simple. Right. You will talk to the walls and like it, yeah, little Mo, but if I do that, you're missing out on this very important piece of knowledge and information that I have to share with you. What is up with the stream timing? It's 7 a.m. Wake the fuck up. Wake up. It's 7 a.m. I'm hyper because I drank my coffee. I'm entertaining you before you go to work. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that cool? Entertaining you before you go to work. By the way, I finished Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima has been finished. Do you guys know when you really like a game and you really get into it and you're enjoying it a lot, and then when you finally finish, you feel like your life doesn't have a purpose anymore? Like, let me explain how it is. You know, like you wake up and you go play the game, and it's becoming like this routine, this ritual, you know, of waking up and playing the game. And when you finish the game, you wake up and you literally don't know what to do. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Daniel J. Corica lied to me. This is how I start my day, with people lying to me. They give me American dollars and they tell me it's rubles. That's horrible. They're not rubles, they're dollars. It's a big difference. Rubles are Stalin's money. Sorry. Yeah, Stalin's money. Okay. We're always watching, just like Ceausescu. You know, funny fact, the dictator was not really informed of the life of the commoner. Like, the communist leader, you know, a lot of people legitimately think that, oh my god, it's the communist leader, he controls everything. He doesn't. Most of the time, the communist leader is there as a figurehead. The actual people running the country are the oligarchs and the secret service. In the case of Romania, it was the Securitate. But no, like, they didn't provide all of the correct information to the leader. There was this joke, you know, at the farm, a cow has one calf. And the farmer reports it to the boss, to the union boss, you know, it's like the cow had two calves. And then the union boss reports it to the press, that to the secret security, that it had three calves. And then the secret security reported to the press that it had four. And then the press, you know, writes that it had five. And when the dear leader reads the paper, he makes a public statement and says, because we have 6 calves, we're going to sell 5 to export. But yeah. Isn't dollars better in value? Of course it's better in value, but it's not rubles, you know? It's, like, rubles are the type of money that you can smell the vodka on them, you know? If I have rubles in my hand, I get drunk. Uh, I'm literally living in V's past. It's Tuesday for him, but still Monday for me. Yeah, that's wrong, actually. It's, oh yeah, no, it's Tuesday for me as well. Holy shit, you are right. I sleep when I want, Lincoln. When you become a YouTuber, you can sleep whenever you want as well. But you know, this is me being hardworking. Like, this is entertaining. I already made $10. I feel really good with myself, so that I can pay for the mortgage, for the loan that I'm going to buy a new house from. And it's going to have a gazebo. And not only that, but like, I want my house to have a studio with it. Like, I want a studio so that the sound quality of my voice is going to be exceptional. I had to sacrifice buying a new PC, right? Horrible. But if the fiancée wants a new house, then by goddamn it, she's going to have a new house. I remember on my Palace of Parliament tour, they said Ceausescu didn't install central air because he feared his enemies would try to poison him. Well, you know, it's the sword of Damocles that always hangs on top of the leader's head. Yeah, I mean, he's got an exceptional lifestyle. He's got a lot of power and everything, but he's always afraid that someone will try to assassinate him. I will give you American citizenship. Sold. Tugan Tommy, though, I can't marry you anymore because I've got engaged. So, you know what? You need to convert to Islam. And under Islamic law, inshallah, I think I can have 2 wives. But, like, I don't know, like... okay, so if you're a Muslim in a progressive country where gay marriage is allowed, can you marry 3 people? Like, a woman and a guy. Can you do that? Like, because it's a really interesting question. Like, here's the law in my country. So in my country, I don't think Muslims can marry 5 or 6 wives in Romania. But if they marry in Saudi Arabia or in another country where it's allowed, and then they travel here, their marriage is legalized. And it's normal for this to be the case because let's assume one of the wives, you know, gets into a car crash and she's at the hospital. So the guy wants to see her. And it's like, why do you want to see her? I'm her husband. It's like, okay. So the question would come, like, if gay marriage was legalized here, and you come with, like, a Muslim with a woman, a man, and another woman, and the non-binary demi-fox, would that marriage be legalized, huh? I want to be a YouTuber so I can stream to Romanians in the middle of the night. Well, you should try that. It's really cool. I work at night full time. Yeah, Jimmy, you know, you feel the pain like I do. As a Christian, you can have 16 wives. 4 better, 4 worse, 4 richer, and 4 poorer. Ha! I see what you did there. Is there such a thing as a progressive fundamentalist Muslim? No, they are. There are. I generally know a couple. You know what's interesting, though? Like, the more progressive and open-minded the Muslim is, you know, the less things become haram. But even like atheist Muslims that completely renounce God, like the last thing that they do is eating pork. Like, they will drink alcohol, they will, you know, commit all sorts of haramness, but eating pork seems to be like the last thing that they do. I never understand why, but it's like, it's a big taboo for them. My wedding invitation did not arrive yet. Well, I already told people, it's like, it's going to be just a family-only wedding. So if you want to attend my wedding, you have to become part of the family first. I don't know how, like, maybe I can adopt you or something, right? Hello, Abdi Muhammad. Glad to have you here. All right, what games are coming now? Because I finished Ghost of Tsushima, so I'm looking forward for Wasteland 3. Wasteland 3 seems to be a kind of cool game. Like, let's watch the trailer, and we can decide if it's the type of game that you guys enjoy. I didn't like Wasteland 2, by the way. A lot of people liked it, and it's like, oh, it's like Fallout. I didn't like it because it was like way too combat-oriented. Very combat-oriented. And like, the original Fallout had some combat in it, but it was more role-playing. Like, you actually had to do a lot of the talkie-talkie. Meanwhile, Wasteland 2, I remember like playing, and it's like, just combat after combat after combat, and it's like, okay, you know, it's more like Fallout Brotherhood than actual Fallout 1 or 2. So Wasteland 3 is coming, and hopefully they're going to have more role-playing in it. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Let me check. Okay. It would be cool if you can actually drive vehicles. Like, this might be just in the trailer, you know, like a cutscene or something, but I would love it if you can drive some cool tanks. Although I think the combat is turn-based, so you can still have like turn-based combat with vehicles, can't you? Like, that would be a cool addition. Remember, like Fallout 2? Yeah, Fallout 2, you actually got to have a car. Man, I love that game.
Who the fuck are you? This is Hardhead turf.
Yeah, so I guess I could have like some role-playing thing. But the question is like, how much is it going to be?
Maybe we have. So what? This ain't no desert, and you ain't answered my question. What the fuck are you doing in our territory?
For a sort of indie game, I like the facial expressions.
I know all about chopping people up. Why? Am I in trouble? Are you gonna pull me in?
It's kind of cute. Okay. Ooh. The combat looks polished, though. Wait, they're leaving? That was it? Ah, the gunfire. Yeah, the gunfire sounds cool. Oh, you can use the vehicle. Oh, that's great. You can use the vehicle for combat. Alright, so I want this game. Me likey. Me like, holy shit, $50 from Lincoln. Lincoln Warsham gave me $50. I was going to buy ammo for the coming communist revolution, but I like the work. Thank you, Lincoln. I appreciate that. And I also got 1,000 rubles from Rome the city. Now that's actual money. You know, like if I would actually have 1,000 rubles in my hand, I would get drunk. Like you smell the vodka on them. By the way, like a lot of people don't want to tackle the problem with Russia and the vodka. Like I watched a couple of Russian movies lately from, I think it was like the 30s, sorry, the 40s, the 50s. Anyway, like really old Russian movies. The 60s, actually, the 60s. And it's a constant theme where you will see a person just attacking the liquor store. Because if you look at the history of Russia, the Tsar would have a monopoly on vodka, and he would often pay farmers in vodka, making a serious problem within Russia of alcohol addiction. And you know, a lot of people would grow up in a family where the daddy was drunk. Not really good, right? So when Lenin came in, like he actually tried to destroy these distilleries, and the communists actually were prohibitionists in the beginning. But then things went back to the way they are. Go back to bed, V. It's too early to be awake. Like, what do you mean early? It's late. 1,000 rubles is like $12. Like, I don't know, man. It's 1,000 fucking rubles. I'm happy. Okay? Like, let me be happy. It's 1,000 rubles. Jesus. Rubles are important. It's Putin's money. Let me show you something cool, okay? Because now there's more people watching. I can show the Amerikanski something really great. So I noticed a trend, okay? And this is something that happens in the United States, but it also happens here in Europe. So a lot of people don't like the country they're in. Fair enough, right? Like you don't like the corruption, you don't like the fact that you can't find employment, the violence, okay? Like there's many reasons why people would flee a nation. So they leave their country and they go into a new country that's better than the one they left. Like assuming, because otherwise why would you go somewhere, right? You go somewhere because it's better than when you left. It's like I wouldn't leave my house in order to move into a shack now, would I? So they do this, right? And then when they get there, they vote or they try to install the same regime like the country they left from. And in America, it seems that it's happening with California now. Like, a lot of people don't like California now. High crime rate, shit on the streets, like all the problems that come with California now. So they decide to go to Texas. And what do they do when they're in Texas? They vote Democrat, of course. So you now get to see a couple of ads that the Republicans are using in Texas. Welcome to Texas. Don't vote for what you fled. Vote Republican this November. Isn't this beautiful? Is it not uchikushi? It is very omoshiroi. I'm learning the language. Look at this one. Texas still great. California too late. Texas still great. Vote Republican. Liberals, please continue on 140 until you have left our great state of Texas. Like, man, this is just savage. It's utter savagery. It's a huge problem in Sweden too. Yeah, it's a huge problem every fucking where. Like, I generally don't understand the mindset of these people. Like, I get the second generation immigrants doing it because you hear your family probably talking good shit about the country they come from. Like, I noticed this in Romania too. Like, there's a lot of old people that are now glorifying communism because they're only remembering the good things about it. And there were a couple of good things about communism, like the idea that you could always have a job and it was stable. The idea that as long as you kept your head down and played ball, you could get things done. But they don't remember how it's like to live in a small, cramped apartment. They don't remember how it's like not to have cold water. They don't remember how it's like for the electricity to constantly shut down. They don't remember how it's like to have a life without a television. They don't remember these things, but they remember the good aspects of communism. It's like, oh yes, everyone had a job. And, I knew the lady at the grocery store and she always gave me milk under the table while other people had to wait for milk from 3 a.m. in the morning. So, I think it's the same with the second generation immigrants. They hear from their fathers and their mothers about the good things from the nation they fled from. So they want to vote like that. I get it. But I don't get if you're fleeing fucking California and you're going to Texas, why are you still voting for the same shit that caused you to leave in the first place? Because here's the thing. A nation isn't bad by itself, okay? It's not that the land is possessed. It's not that there is evil spirits in the air. No, it's the government is always responsible, okay? The people in charge are 100% responsible for the state of that particular nation. So why would you vote the same idea? That's I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, I Am Bob pointed it out. It's slavery ensured you had the job as well. Which is pretty much what communists did. When you think about it, everyone was enslaved because you couldn't choose not to have a job. If you chose not to have a job, you would be called a social parasite. That's exactly how the communists would call people that chose to be unemployed, a social parasite. And the cops, if they caught you during working hours, they would start asking questions. And they would take you to the police station, apply a correction, and then you'd have a job. A case comes into mind where my uncle told me. Now, my uncle was an engineer at a factory. And the cops one day sent a gypsy into their factory. Now, the gypsy had absolutely no idea on how to work at the factory. He didn't know anything. But the reason he was sent was because he was singing at weddings. That's the job that he would choose, right? He would go with a violin at a wedding and he would sing and he would make a lot of money. So the cops caught him in the middle of the street during working hours. And it's what are you doing? It's well, why aren't you employed? It's I have a job. And it's oh, that's a liberal profession. It's frowned upon. How can you be a singer at a wedding? That is a liberal profession. How much money do you make? And he says, it's how much he makes. Oh, you make in one weekend more than a hard worker works in a month. What type of example do you send for the common worker? And they beat the living shit out of him, and then they sent him to a factory. So, the moral of the story is that everyone had to work, and you couldn't leave the country you're in. It's also one of the reasons the economy collapsed, if you think about it, because it's if everyone needs to have a job and everyone then gets paid, you have certain jobs that can be done by 5 people, but now you need 10 people in it to do the job, because it's like, well, they need to have something to do, right? And everyone at work was also very lazy. Everyone tried to do the minimum amount possible. People tried to steal from their workplace because it wasn't their workplace. It was, the way they would call it, it's like, why shouldn't you steal? It's like, it's not your dad's business. You know, it's not your father's business. Just look the other way. And that's what actually would happen. Because the boss probably stole as well, so he didn't care that his employees are stealing. Everyone was stealing. So yeah, that's how socialism is like. What do you mean nothing changed? Everything changed. Like, man, you go to a McDonald's. Like, I worked at a McDonald's, okay? There were cameras every fucking where. Those motherfuckers didn't trust me with their chicken nuggets at all. Like, if you try to nick a chicken nugget, the next day you will be fired. Like, they were incredibly strict with their fucking chicken nuggets. You know, same at KFC. Like, there were cameras everywhere. You couldn't take a single potato and put it in your mouth. I don't think Romania is right-wing or left-wing. It doesn't really have a political compass. It's more like corruption. You know, like, that's the problem. All the people in the government, they're trying to nick money. He makes $1 more than me. Arrest him. Yeah, no, communism does promote laziness. Because, again, like, they don't promote the best man for the job. So, like, if you go to work and you know you're not going to get fired, and you know, like, as long as you're doing the bare minimum and you keep your head down, you're going to have a nice life, what is the incentive to work hard? Why should you work harder than you're paid for? It was also a joke. It's like, they pretend to pay us, we pretend to work. But here's another one that's also very interesting. This happened in the Soviet Union, by the way. Because communism promotes equality, they didn't like the idea that a worker is better than someone else, right? Because it's not equal. Like, all workers should be equal. So what did they do when they wanted to give an award for, like, the best man for the job? You know, like, the employee of the month, basically. They would put medals on machinery. Like, I'm not even kidding. Imagine a factory, and they would go with the medal and pin it on the machinery that produced the more. Now, obviously, it was indirectly implied that the person operating that machinery is the one that got the medal. But they wouldn't pin the medal on the person, because that would be unequal. So they would put the medal on the machine so that, you know, they do appear like they're giving medals and promotions, but it's very interesting. And I noticed that every single time you talk about socialism and the left, it goes hand in hand with corruption. Like, every fucking where you look, everywhere. Like, when you have socialists corrupting video game journalists and whatnot, or gaming journalists, like in the entertainment industry, it's always corruption, like promoting their friends, doing nepotism, like everything. And it's like 100% exaggerated than in any other industry. I'm not saying that right-wingers can't be corrupt, but my fucking God, it's like, why is it that whenever you have social justice activists infiltrating something, corruption is soon to follow? Was workplace marijuana frowned upon? I don't even think we had marijuana back then. Different question. Do you believe that communism and totalitarianism should be joined at the hip? Or can former exist without the latter? Well, here's the thing, okay? When communists say that real communism wasn't tried, they're actually right. Like, when you read Karl Marx, you notice that communism is the end goal, but in order to reach through communism, you need socialism. So socialism is the existence of a tyrannical state that controls everything, including what you're allowed to think. And after years of socialism, like hundreds of years of socialism, where the state is just trying to program people to be communists, then you can have communism. The problem with this is that once you give the government the control to control everything that you think, why on earth would they ever step down? Why would they relinquish that power? Because that's the main problem. So the idea of communism would be something like Star Trek in very extreme examples, but it's not really accurate. But it's the idea that you go to work and you work as hard as possible, as hard as you can. You don't get paid. But then you go into a warehouse and you only take what you need. Like the warehouse would be filled with everything, and you only take the minimum amount that you need. That's against human nature. Like, I don't think that, and you only need a small minority of people to fuck up the system. Like, even dogs, for example, have a sense of fairness. Like, there is an experiment where they took two dogs in different cages, and they taught the dog to shake whenever they got a treat, right? So they would be like, shake, give the dog the treat. And what they would do is, like, they would ask a dog to shake, give him the treat, and then they would ask the second dog to shake and not give him the treat. And after a while, what they noticed is that the dog not getting the treat was getting furious. He was getting anxious and, going like... And eventually the dog stopped shaking. Because they noticed that they're being treated differently. And it's the same with the work environment. Like, if I go to work and I see a person that's more lazy than me, that is not doing what I am doing, it starts to piss me off. Especially if I see that he gets paid the same amount like I am. And when that happens, then I start working less. Like, I actually noticed this. It's like, you guys know I've been to med school and law school. So what's interesting is that when I went to a class where most of the other colleagues were lazy and didn't study, I studied less. But when I went to a class where everyone was studying hard, I was studying harder too. I'm pretty sure there's a social experiment about this somewhere. But it definitely applies, and this is why communism doesn't work. Now, the way I would like to explain it is, like, think about it this way. Imagine the Aztecs, doing human sacrifices, and expecting a plentiful bounty, right? So they're sacrificing prisoners in order to get a plentiful bounty. And if the gods don't answer and you have a drought, then the conclusion isn't that sacrificing people doesn't work. It's like, no. Maybe we haven't sacrificed people properly. Like, maybe the incantation wasn't good, or maybe the stock of the prisoner wasn't good enough. So they try it again next year, and next year, and next year, and next year, and it's like that's the same with socialism. They keep trying to get to the utopia, and it doesn't work, and they try it again and again and again. But, like, let's be honest. I generally don't think that people are that dumb. No, I think the leaders know it's not going to work. But they use useful idiots in order to gain power. Like, socialism is a ticket to power. It's like the entire ideology is talking about power nonstop. So, how to grab power, how to get power, how to make power. So, like, there's two types of socialists. There is the very young, impressionable people that are mostly brainwashed because they don't understand economics. And then you have the actual socialists that do understand economics, the old, very wealthy gentlemen like Bernie Sanders, like George Soros, like Vosh. They understand it, but they use the useful idiots in order to make themselves wealthy, in order to gain power, in order to gain influence. Pretty much like, I would consider them to be like an atheist priest. Like, You go to study on how to become a priest just so you can get a church from the Orthodox. Like, there's a lot of people that do this. Like, in my country, you go to the university, you learn how to become an Orthodox priest. And then you marry a woman, and you get a free church and a house. That's it. It's like, and you're set for life. Like, you don't need anything else. Like, that's your job from the beginning till the end. It's a very lucrative business. Very good. Gotta work. Take this as a goodbye. Well, goodbye, Mohammed. I hope you're going to have a nice day at work. Do you think Romania and Poland can hold off rainbow commies until the fall of the European Union? No, because Romania right now has a very interesting president by the name of Klaus Johannes Werner. A very Romanian name. And the man does everything that Angela Merkel tells him. Like, he is a yes man. It's like, oh, the Austrians are chopping off our forests. Well, no problem here. It's like, who should get the gases in the Black Sea? It's like, So no. Meanwhile, the president of Poland has said, and I quote, the LGBT movement is worse than communism or some shit like that. A lot of countries in Eastern Europe, and this is something that I agree with, they are, and the left is just, they are defunding LGBT universities, and the reason I agree with might shock you, because it's not what you think. So when they say like LGBT is being banned in Hungary, it's not, okay, and it's a really bad, nasty thing to say, because you might have a gay person wanting to travel in a vacation in Hungary and think that he is going to be assaulted or something like that. That's not the case. No. That's not what we're talking about. Gay people aren't being oppressed in Hungary or Poland or Russia. What ends up happening, though, is that the universities that are paid from taxpayer money are pushing these grievance studies, which don't really, like they pretend that they care about gay people, but in reality they want to push for socialism. It's the same way like communists pretend they care about the worker, but in reality they want to gain power. And it's these universities that are being defunded. Now, if you want to have like a private university and talk about gay rights activism or some shit, no one is stopping you. Like, it's not illegal. You can still do it in Hungary. You can still do it in Poland. Like, it's legal. You can do that. Just not out of the taxpayer money. Now, the reason I'm against it is because a university, if I'm paying taxes for it, okay, like if I have to pay taxes for someone else's education, then I hope that the person at least manages to get a job after the university that he did. So at least it should be a type of university that guarantees he is going to manage to find a job. And I don't know, like, if a grievance studies university is going to give you a job in Eastern Europe. Like, I'm pretty sure diversity officer is a position that's very well paid, but, like, is it really something for Eastern Europe? Like, is it a high demand? You can't just say that people aren't being oppressed. Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, the entire pillar of communism is oppression. Like, someone needs to oppress someone else, otherwise communism can't exist. And any sort of inconvenience, any sort of, like, even like the most minor inconveniences imaginable, such as manspreading, is considered oppression. If you look at Russian TV, the hosts are clearly gay dudes. They're wearing sequin suits and guy liner. I don't know, I haven't watched Russian television. They're going to send you to the principal office for a paddling and a pink slip. Communism is just feudalism without God's approval. Yeah, I mean, it is. It really is if you think about it. Did I leave the door open? No, I didn't. You do have like the aristocracy, the ruling class, which are the inner party members, and the law applies different to them. Like, let me give you an example. In my country, and I think I told about this example before, but it's really fucked up if you think about it. The son of the dictator ran over a woman with his car. Now, he didn't do it on purpose, but he killed a woman. He was driving his car while drunk, and he ran over a woman. The press covered it up. The police let him go the next day. The family of the deceased woman was paid a couple of money from the government. Anyone else doing this, like any other person that wasn't an inner party member, any other, like anyone else that would have ran over a woman would have been arrested the next day and sent to prison. But that's what happens when you allow the government to have complete control. It's like, why wouldn't the dictator cover up for his son? You know, why wouldn't he cover up his son's mistakes? Hello, Elric Godslayer. Reminds me only of a Halicon age when I was an innocent conserved art baga person. And you're not an innocent conserved art baga person now, Victor Rand? By the way, one of the people that I used to watch, I don't watch him anymore because he's really right-wing, but he's not authoritarian right-wing. He is, you know, pretty much like one step from ANCAP land. Like, if you push him, he's going to fall into the same hole with Mr. Dapperton. ANCAP agent. Academic Agent. You guys know him? Well, Academic Agent used to have a job at a university. And he was making YouTube videos talking about economical issues, stats, debunking certain leftist narratives. It was kind of dry if you think about it, because they weren't funny or entertaining or anything. It was just him, showing numbers and shit. So they doxed him. They sent out of context clip footage to his university. Turns out the guy is Iranian. And the university decided, yeah, we don't really need diversity anymore. Like, we don't need Iranians if they had too much to think. So they fired him. And the guy is recently married. Really pisses me off, man. Like, it really pisses me off. And these people just don't understand why normal human beings hate communists. I wouldn't do this to a communist, by the way. Like, I wouldn't. If you had a communist spewing his nonsense at a university and he got recently met, I wouldn't try to fire him. Okay, Victor Rand. Did he answer my question? The right-wing YouTube pipeline had really worked on me. Yeah. What should we talk about? Let's see if we got some interesting topics. Let me show you something that caught my eye. Apparently there is a commercial from Korea. Let's watch Korean commercials. Like, do you think you would see something like this in the United States?
옛날에 토끼와 거북이가 숲속에서 놀고 있었어요.
놀 만큼 놀았다. 이젠 뭐가?
회원 가입합시다.
The fuck did I just watch? The fuck did I just watch? You seen it before? Everyone's seen it before. Well, I didn't. I did not see this before. Is it like a furry commercial, like Korean Love Hotel? And by the way, there's a sequel to it. Like, look at this. This is so badly animated too.
어디 가야 한다고?
People are like, we bagged the wrong Korea. It is furry porn if you think about it. Like, my god. Someone needs to meme that. It's already memed. Is porn banned in Korea? I didn't know that. That's why he doesn't show his tabs? What are you talking about? I do show my tabs. No, how can you expect hentai if it's on national television? Looks like a bit like the chocolate bunny, huh? No more? I'll give you more then. It's time for more. If you guys want more, I will provide. So, someone made an anime version of Captain Marvel and Reddit doesn't like it. It's like, well, if Reddit doesn't like it, then you should make more. People drew Captain Marvel as a genetic smug anime girl with huge boobs. And it needs to be stopped. How would you stop it though? Like, would you go into the artist's house, violate his private property and be like, no, stop it, you're not allowed? To be honest, like, I would read the fuck out of this Captain Marvel. Like, even if it was the most social justice-y Captain Marvel ever, like, I would just read it because it looks kawaii. It looks really cute. Like, she could be the most horrible character ever. She could be, like, the most mean-spirited, the most awful of the... I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care, because she actually looks adorable. Like, literally, that's all it takes for me to watch it. That's why North Korea is the best Korea, huh? Look at this one. I found this article and I don't know what to make of it. So, according to this, lesbian teens are getting more pregnant than... Sorry, lesbian teens are getting pregnant more than twice as often as their peers. Is that a lady in my chat? Like, I think I saw a lady. I think I saw Sarah. Where is Sarah? Any ladies in the chat? If you're a woman in the chat, press 1. Like, I need to talk with a lady. Okay? I need a woman. A womuxen. I need a womuxen. Alright, let me see if I have any womuxens in the chat. Yes, get down with the thickness. Captain Marvel should go full naked superhero. Like Keko Kamen. I don't know about Keko Kamen. Man, the lag is quite big. Is that... Okay, so we got Silly Rabbit and Sarah J. Jacobson. Okay. I got 3 Womuxens in the chat. Okay. The Rubber Kitty. Man, that is a girly name. The Rubber Kitty. It's like... Can you imagine a manly macho man with the name like, you know, a bodybuilder? Like, he sits down, you know, the entire room reeks of testosterone. And his name is the Rubber Kitty. Okay, so many Womuxens. How is it possible? How is it possible? Like, please explain to me, because you're women, you understand this shit. How is it possible for lesbians to get pregnant twice as often? Now, I would understand a lesbian relationship, right? Because then it's like double jeopardy. It's like, in a heterosexual relationship, only one person can get pregnant, right? But in a lesbian relationship, it doubles, because there's 2 now. So how... Okay, grass office. How is this possible? Look at Daniel Deff. Look at what mean-spirited thing to say. I am so proud of you. You woke up like a normal person. I never went to bed, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Well, I'll tell you how it works. They lie. That's how it works. Either they're not lesbians, they're bisexual. That's how probably it works. Writing a paper on the Marxist origins of postmodernism. No, I don't have an advice. Like, that's way too specific. And thank you for the donations, Sonny Killer. And keeping up the good work is something that I will definitely do. They're trans. That's very interesting. Life finds a way. Well, like, it reminds me of that article with the woman that had an intrauterine device in order to prevent pregnancy, and she still has a baby, and the baby comes out holding that thing in his hand, like a chad motherfucker. If people can claim they're lesbian, then sleep with dudes should things you can claim to be protected by the state. No, because, like, the way hate crimes work, allegedly, is that you need to perceive that the person is legitimately something that's protected. So, for example, if you do a crime against Michael Jackson and you didn't know he's black, then it's not going to be a hate crime, is it? But if you do a hate crime like against a guy and you think he's Michael Jackson, then yeah, it can be a hate crime. It's kind of weird like that, but you kind of get what I'm trying to say, right? Need a bard for the mystery. I don't normally play, but it'd be awesome to play with you guys. Well, thank you, Kyle, but no, I don't take any more players. We're already a big enough group as it is. Lesbian chicks who have dated men are bi, but they get with legit lesbian chicks. So one is lesbian, the other isn't fully. Believe me, my best friend is a lesbian chick. Oh my god, we finally solved the mystery. Make a playlist with my D&D games. I think I will. But not now, after I wake up. I need to go to bed first. Okay, so here's something interesting. People are trolling Shoe on Head. And she has posted a list of the trollings. Forgot Bernie Sanders existed. Good. Please forget about politics in general. Get off the internet and find a traditional man to settle down with and have children. Do these people really think that Like, I can't tell if this guy is trolling or he legitimately thinks, you know what, she's going to follow my advice. Like, this is an advice that will spin her world around. But look at it, like, she keeps getting it. Government said we're not allowed to protest them. Guys, come on, go home. We just don't want our streets burned down. Comic-Con has rotted your brain sad. But it's just one guy. Hold on. Like, I legitimately thought that she's getting trolled by multiple people, but it's just like one random twat. Why are you making a big fuss out of it? Like, Jesus. Do you know how often I get trolled by people online? Oh my god. Anyway, you are too beautiful for that hair color. Please go back to natural brown. Get off the internet and find an older traditional man to start the family with. Why is this guy so obsessed? Why is he so obsessed about Sean Head finding a... Fuck. Never forget what Susan took from us. And yes, Alex Jones actually had llamas in his in his studio. And it's like, never forget what the internet commies took from us. Like, this guy doesn't have a single retweet. He doesn't have a single like. What is Sean Head doing? Look, Sean Head has never been horny. What? Too much info. Way too much info. What the fuck? Sperm donor is an option. Yeah, it is, but like... We're not talking about lesbians in a relationship. We're just talking about lesbians, you know? She's hitting the wall. Posts like that is just about attention. Yeah, I think it's just about attention as well. It's like, come on. You know, like, when you are on a famous person on the internet and you get, like, more than 10,000 subscribers, you're going to have people that say shit to get under your skin. But, like, I noticed this is only with communists that are doing, like, why the fuck do they take everything someone says as if it's a 100% serious thing? Isn't Sean Head into BDSM? Yes, and apparently she never got horny, according to her. Shu's whole stick was kawaii chick with a boyfriend. It's over for her. No, I don't think it's over for her. Like, I think there's even more possibilities for her now. Like, she's single. Man, there's so many simps that are into girls that are single. And not to mention, like, I'm going to say this, but Sean Head is legitimately funny. Do you know how rare that is? For me, at least. I mean, maybe you guys know a lot of women that make you laugh. But Sean Head seems to be one of the few that does it for me. And my fiancé, of course. But, like, I don't see her having a hard time now that she's single. Shu is relatively unimportant these days. What are you fucking talking about? Let's see how unimportant she is. Like, I remember her being the breadwinner in the family, so... She's got 1.46 billion subscribers. How is this irrelevant? Like, what are you smoking? Look at this. She's getting 500 million views per video. Like, man, do you know how much money she is making? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this woman can afford a mansion every 2 months or so. Like, she can easily buy a Ferrari 3 times a year. What are you talking about? Cute with 5 pounds of makeup on. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not simping, I'm not giving her cash, but I'm talking about reality. Like, any YouTuber that can pull these numbers, alright, like 1.46 billion subs, and you get, like, videos that have, like, 1.2 billion views. Per video. Like, per video. 1.2 million views. I think it's around $2,000, if not $3. Okay, so like, and this is just the ads. Alright, no super chats, no Patreon, no, just the ads. She's making like $3,000 per video. I don't know, man. Like, if you think that she is doing poorly, I wish I would be doing as poorly as she is. We need more diversity in your D&D campaign. Make Arch gay. Well, that's up to him. She gets to stay monetized. Of course she gets to stay monetized. She's a Bernie supporter. I don't care if she is edgy or not. Like, I'm looking at the numbers. You know, like, the numbers don't lie. It's 9.5 million views. Look at this shit. 9.5 million views per video. Like, this is insane. Look at the number she's getting. Look at it. 2 million views. What the hell? 1.2 million views. 1 million. Like, no. This woman is filthy rich. And I don't even know how much she's making on Patreon. You're doing better than her. No, I'm not. I'm not pulling 1.5 billion views per video, man. At least you aren't a sellout. Well, I mean, I just say how I think. I mean, I do consider selling out a bit. There's a lot of stuff that I would like to talk about, but I censor myself because I know I would be gone from the platform if I didn't. So, you know, like, I'm not 100% comfortable. I could be a lot more edgy. In fact, I'm not edgy at all. Like, all my edge is gone. That's the problem. If I were to be edgy like I wanted to be, I would probably pull in more numbers, but, like, I don't know how long I could last. Eventually, they would get me. I still think I'm going to be gotten eventually, so. Being a woman is easy. Yeah, but, you know, like, she's not the type of woman that shows tits. Like, I don't think she ever actually showed cleavage, and she does seem to have boobies. No, she's funny. Like, she thought, you know, I disagree with her politics, but I think she's funny. Armor Skeptic found a new pet younger. I don't know if that's like, a hypothesis, or it's legit. But yes, I saw that there is a younger version of Shuanhe. Like, it looks almost identical to her, except that she has smaller boobs. And a lot of people are saying that Armor Skeptic is dating her. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's really like that. I think it's just like wishful thinking for people who want drama. Yeah, like, the moment I get another platform that's not censorable, oh my god, like, the edge is going to... I like your humor. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Shu was funny 2015, 2017. I mean, I haven't listened to her, you know, recently. I haven't listened to a lot of her things. I think the last video that I listened to her was like her war on maps. Maps means minor attracted person. And she went to war against them, and there were maps going like, Ree! You can't be against us, it's thought policing. Ree! I see. And you know, like, these are the same people that are trying to join the LGBT umbrella, which is also thought policing. It's like, don't misgender or you're banned from the Twitter. It's like, okay, you're not against thought policing, so shut the fuck up and get thought policed then. We're arguing past each other, V. The importance isn't based on views. If she's so important, why don't you invite her to play D&D with you guys? You know, like, I would invite her to play D&D with us, but I don't think she would. Though, we were talking about successful, you know, and important as in influential. Like, if you can reach 1 million people, yeah, I think you're an influential person. I'm sorry. But it is what it is. It's like, I wish I could reach 1 million people. How dangerous to be against pedos. Very brave. See, you say that there now. You say that. Maybe you didn't notice the political correctness surrounding things. It's like, a couple of years ago, I mean, it's not even a couple of years, like 4 years ago, if I were to say a woman's cock or a woman's penis, everyone would laugh at me, right? Like, people would be really humored by what I would say. It's like, what do you mean a woman's cock? Well, last week, not even last week, it's like this month, you had a woman fired because she agreed with J.K. Rowling, who said only women should get, only women have periods, right? So J.K. Rowling said only women have periods. Another woman agreed with her, and she got fired. Let me give you another example. The biggest charity in the UK, a big charity in the UK, had to shut down the idea that only women should be checked for cervical cancer. So, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, you're telling me it's so brave to stand up against maps. Yeah, a lot of people don't do it. Because then you get an army of activists that are going to go on your channel, flag everything that you have, you know, try to see, like, if they can take out of context maybe 1 or 2 minutes of a video. You have to put up with that shit. A lot of people are uncomfortable with doing it. Not to mention, like, the very fact that the word map exists is something that triggers me. It's like, it's the political correct way of saying it now. And before you go and you go like, oh, well, you know, it can never happen. In Germany, the Green Party, a couple of years ago, was actually operating kindergartens for the fiki. And not to mention that they had a public platform for this. Like, let me see if I can find the article so you don't think that I'm talking out of my asshole. Like, look at this shit. A major German political party used to support pedophilia and it's coming back to haunt them. Like, this is legit. It's not that allegedly. No, they actually supported it. It's not every day that major European political party has to apologize for having supported pedo, but 2 weeks ago the German Green Party had to do just that. For the past year and a half, investigation commissioned by the party have been probing its past association with pro-pedo groups, and the report has been shocking to many Germans. It found that the German pedosexual movement, which advocated the legalization of consensual sex between adults and children, found a surprisingly warm reception in the party in the 1980s. And just so you understand, like, recently, also in Germany, it was found out that the child protection services were giving children to pedos because of some university professor coming to the very smart and wise conclusion that they're going to be placed in a more loving homes. So, like, don't think that it can't happen. Don't think that it's like a... Do you know what the German Green Party is? They are one of the parties that won the most number of votes for the European Union. Do you know why? Because most people don't even know about this shit. Like, what ends up happening, I spoke with a lot of people that voted Green. And I asked them, like, why the fuck did you vote for communists? Like, what do you mean? Like, I voted for them because they're with the trees and the nature and shit. And when you actually start reading from their political platform, they're like, oh, I voted for that? Yes, you fucking voted for that. Like, there's so many people that are disenfranchised with the basic bitch political class in Germany, the SPD and the others, and they're like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to throw my vote for the Greens, because it's forests and grass and shit. They're actually called like watermelons, you know, green on the outside, communist red on the inside. And it's kind of interesting that there's also like the type of people that are the university students, the ones that are the bourgeoisie types that drink their soy lattes, and they're the ones voting with the Greens. And then when you actually look at what the Green is doing and you look into it, it's so fucking disgusting and cringeworthy. But yeah. All Green parties in Europe do this kind of bullshit. They are also pro-incest and necrophilia. I don't know about that. Like, I have no idea about that. But what I do know is that every single Green party is co-opted by the communists. I think Romania might have the only Green party that legitimately cares about the trees. Like, there was this famous person, Florin Constantinescu, I believe, or something. I forgot his name. But anyway. He wanted to start a Green Party to plant more trees in the forests of Romania and protect the Romanian forests. Like, well, fucking hell, you know, like, okay, that's a legitimate Green Party. The reason the Green Party is co-opted by communists has its roots in the hippie movement. The hippies were pro-peace. The communists allegedly were pro-peace as well, but only for the United States. You know, Russia could have its imperialistic tendencies moving forward. But basically, that's when they have like common things with the hippies and they co-opted the hippie movement. Same thing with the Greens. They got co-opted. A lot of hippies were with the Greens as well, and that's when they got into the Green movement. Our Greens are just as communist, V. Fuck off. No. Like, it was this guy that used to be on Pro TV. And he wanted to start his own political party, and like the platform on his party was to protect the Romanian forests and to plant more trees. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's your platform, then it's a legitimate green party. Like it's actually going to do what it says it's going to do. I don't know about other green parties that Romania have. I'm pretty sure they might be communist, but like meh. Hippies were empty-handed to begin with, eh? No, like communists try to co-opt almost everything. What the fuck do I keep dropping? Like everything gets co-opted, and they use like the name of the organization like a husk, and then they expect the same respect that the old organization used to have. So, for example, you know, Greenpeace, like it was actually something in the beginning, and or no, like here's a better example. The Pulitzer, right? Like the Pulitzer used to be a prestigious award given to like the best journalists, right? The communists co-opted, and now when you look at who got the Pulitzer, it's people who pushed the Russiagate conspiracy nonsense. Like those are the best journalists now. So they wear the Pulitzer like a dead husk, and then they demand the same respect as if the Pulitzers even mean something. Like when you give an award to a person that's not worthy of the award, it's not that you're making the person look good. No, you're devaluing the award. Like the award means nothing. Just, for example, the Oscars. You know, I don't trust the Oscars anymore because they're political in nature now. It's not based on who makes the best movie or who makes the best picture film. No, now it's like, well, what about the representation? Like, let's look at the percentages. How many percentages of this color do you have? Like, okay, well, if you do that, then it's like obviously not about the best thing anymore. It's just like political. I am from America. The communists is causing havoc. Well, let me show you something about the communists, okay? Like, and I think we can end with this. Like, I think one of the purpose of the riots now is to convince the soccer moms to go vote for Trump. And I generally like don't understand the problem with the protesters. Like any person that's with the protesters, like please help me understand. It started in a Democrat city with a Democrat police chief, with a Democrat governor, with a Democrat prosecutor. How is this the Republicans' fault? Like they keep saying, well, the systems of systematic racism. It's like, yeah, but most of these systems seem to be Democrats in power or left-leaning people. So, okay. But basically, like the tactic they're doing is it's a tried and true tactic of activism where you place the person you're doing activist against in a negative light. Okay, so they have friends in the media that are going to give the protesters positive coverage, basically. So they push this ridiculous nonsense with the wall of moms. You know, like some moms folding a human chain in front of a courthouse. So you have protesters throwing fireworks and Molotov cocktails and all this shit at the courthouse. Now, feel free to name any country in the world, with any government system you want, where you can throw stuff like that at a courthouse and there's no consequences. Like, please do. You know, I'm willing to listen. But anyway, right, so they instigate this shit, and then the agentes federales, when they retaliate, oh, look, it's the wall of moms. And they're attacking the wall of moms. Let me show you something about the wall of moms, okay? They have a Twitter, Facebook page. Sorry, I'm really tired. All right? Like it's been a while. I'm going to bed after this. But they have a Twitter profile. Okay, 57.5 thousand followers. Wall of Moms, PDX-based network of women and non-binary mother-identifying folks decided to support the current civil rights movement and end police brutality. It looks a little bit like some cherry-picked moms to me here. You know, like, how many people of other ideologies besides socialism, especially Western socialism, identify as women? Like, name me, like, how many right-wingers do you know that identify as women? How many neutral people that aren't into politics at all identify as women? In the past, before of this woke ideology, like 10 years ago, how many people identified as women? Very interesting, you know, so like they want to portray on television that these mothers are, you know, they could be your mom. They could be your mom's sister. They could be your friend, you know, like the average mom could be the person getting brutalized by the cop. Well, it kind of seems that it comes with an ideological package that's not being mentioned by the press at all for some reason. Yes, and assuming they actually are mothers. Bob Dylan won the Nobel Literature Prize in 2016. I have no idea. So yeah, like I think the whole purpose is to show on television, oh look how evil the agentes federales are brutalizing moms. Don't you have a mother? Are you not a mom yourself? Well, then vote against evil dictator Trump. Vote for Joe Biden, who has been already in the government for so many years, and all of the systemic systems of racismus he would be responsible for. But now he's going to end them this time. We promise, pinky promise, even though he's got a little bit of memory lapse here and there, and you're putting like an actual puppet in a very important position in the government. Like seriously, how could, like, why is this not even mentioned in the media? The Democratic Party, okay? Like, massive number of people. Why is it that the person that you decided to lift can't even remember what state he is in? Like, how is this not just... You know what? I am willing to bet, and I'm willing to put money on the fact that there's not going to be any presidential debates this year. Like, I would be Pikachu-faced if there actually is a presidential debate. The only way there would be presidential debate is with, like, a lot of caveats. Like, you're not going to see Trump and Biden in the same... This is why I wanted Bernie Sanders to win. I legitimately wanted Bernie Sanders to win because America desperately needs an actual discussion between socialism and a capitalist. Like, I would have loved to see Bernie Sanders being challenged by the US president. I think the left needed their champion. They needed their hero to rally behind and go into the elections. I don't think he would have won, but like still, it's a lot better than having like Biden, of all people. This is why they need to pull all of this shit. Like, how can you make Biden electable? Like, that's a genuine question. Like, here's the thing. Ask any leftist you want. Just go on there and ask any left-leaning person that you want. Name me why you want to vote for Biden without mentioning Trump. Just do that. Like, and see, they can't articulate. None of them can. I would be shocked if people from Biden's own personal campaign would have been able to articulate why you should vote for him. The only reason that people want to vote is because it's not Trump. Well, is that a legitimate reason? It sounds like Romanian politics to me. It's like, this is what corrupt politicians do all the fucking time. Like, they don't come up with an actual campaign, with actual, you know, like, things they want to do. And it's literally like, vote for me because the other guy is corrupt. It's like, I'm sorry, if both people are corrupt, I'm not going to vote for anyone. Like, that's not a choice. That's like getting fucked in the ass or getting fucked in the mouth. It's like, I want neither. I don't care. Like, if you fuck me, just fuck me. Just stop making me waste my time so I go to the voting booth. Yeah. Everyone believes that Biden will lose, and everyone believes that Trump will win. Biden is the best way to avoid riots. How? I mean, yeah, I suppose if Biden wins, you're going to see these people mopped up. Like, did you notice how fast Chaz was dismantled? Like, literally the next day that they went and protested in front of the mayor house, and the next day Chaz was gone. How funny is that? Like, how interesting is that? So, like, how many people got terrorized in that neighborhood by a narco-communist until eventually they decided, okay, well, let's pack it up. Is to keep the globalist agenda. I don't know, man. It's like, I don't think it's like a globalist agenda, really, because there's people with different interests and shit. Like, even in the European Union, you have people supporting the EU that have, like, different interests, but, like, man, it's really ridiculous when you see someone that's, like, obviously not capable of being a president. And like, that's who the party pushes forward. Like, they didn't want Tulsi Gabbard. They didn't want Andrew Yang. They didn't want Bernie Sanders. Like, hell, I thought that Pete Buttigieg is going to win. Like, Pete Buttigieg was legitimately presidential. Like, I disagree with him. You know, he's still a leftist, but, like, I could see that man as a person in a position of power. No, they go with Joe Biden. I mean, I kind of get why they didn't want Pete Buttigieg, because this is something that the left doesn't want to talk about. You know, like their entire narrative, their entire crafted narrative is like it's straight white men versus the world. But in reality, most black people are still very religious in the United States. And I don't think they would have voted for an LGBT person. So that's why the Democrats probably didn't want Pete Buttigieg. I might be wrong, but I generally think this is the case. Like, you look at surveys, you look at polls, and you will see that, the Christians, I mean, this isn't even controversial, right? Like, Christians are a little bit bigoted, as they say. And black people, a lot of them, are Christians. Isn't it funny, there are currently ongoing protests in Russia, Russian propaganda screaming their heads off about it being Western influence, and yet no one in the West even knows about it. Yeah, it's kind of funny, but like, let's be honest, like, the West has its hand filled at the moment to organize protests in Russia. Yeah, that's the thing, PS1, like, they want a puppet. It's like, yeah, they want a puppet. Why do people vote for a puppet? Like, how obvious is that? It's like, why do we have a democracy with a president? It's so that you don't have puppets. So that you know the person that at least you can hold accountable. And what is with the American fetishism of electing the geriatrics crew every single time you see a presidential debate? It's like, more than half of, and Donald Trump as well. Like, how old is he? 75, 80? It's really bizarre, you know. Like, why can't you elect young presidents? Like, when's the last time the United States actually had the young president? Like, let me look. Let me just check a little bit. U.S. presidents. List of U.S. presidents by age. See, I'm European, so I don't know this. Look at this shit. Jimmy Carter, 95 years. Okay, 65, 65, 65, and then you get like 60, 60, 58, 50. Is there like not a single 40-year? Okay, James A. Garfield. Like, this seems to be like one of the youngest presidents in the United States, 49. Wait, what the fuck is 0 days? Oh, hold on. Like, maybe I should look at the start. The fuck is James? I need to look. I've never heard about this guy. But yeah, we don't study this shit in school. Like, don't look at me like I'm saying. We don't study this, okay? Like, it's the last important thing in history. The American presidents. Okay, 49, 47. Oh, look at this guy. Theodore Roosevelt. Yeah, he was the youngest president, apparently. With age 42. But the average seems to be like 65. And Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was the youngest president. No, sorry, he was the second youngest president. Yeah. Look at this. Donald Trump, 70 years. My fucking God. And the oldest... Eisenhower was the oldest, 70 years at the end. My God. Yeah. Donald Trump is actually... No, Ronald Reagan. I mean, he probably had Alzheimer's by the time he finished. Look how many years these people live. 93, 94, 78, 83, 85, 90 years. Who the fuck lives 90 years? Not to mention, like, 90 years back in 1801, when medicine was still using leeches, huh? I'm exaggerating, but you get the drift. You're going to watch the riots tonight. Is this the American pastime now? You can click on the head there. Yeah, I know. All I know is that Garfield got assassinated. Oh, I guess, well, that explains it. 70 is not old by today's standards, man. Are you kidding me? Like, just because we have the medical knowledge to keep a person like... that doesn't mean that the brain is still up there. Like, we still haven't found a way to prevent neural degeneration. JFK was 43. No, there was a 42 guy. Like, I'm sorry, he wasn't the youngest. There's a guy that was 42. This is like the American trivia, isn't it? 46, 47. Man, I swear to God, I remember seeing one that was 42. I might have been wrong though. Yeah, I think it might be JFK then. Yeah. 17 years. What is this? Post-presidential time span. Yeah. 28. 0 days. Zachary Taylor. Is this another guy that got assassinated? He had victories in Mexico. Okay. 70 is the new 60, eh? Okay, well, I'll let you guys go to work now because it's 8 a.m. I assume you want to go do your jobs. And, what? Neural degeneration is pandemic. Yeah, it is. And, I'll see you guys on my main channel when I upload the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the donations. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.